Hello from Hyperledger Global Forum Dublin. I'm delighted to be joined by Pierre Roberge, CEO of Digital Identity Laboratory of Canada. Hello, Pierre.
Good morning. Good
morning.
Day.
Pierre, could you maybe introduce the ID Lab for short of Canada to our audience, please?
Absolutely. So I'm the founder and the president of the Digital Identity Laboratory of Canada. The lab is a not-for-profit organization that exists to promote the adoption of digital identity. We do that by facilitating conformity and interoperability of digital solution. We're a technology agnostic organization. We work with public and private sector organizations to facilitate their adoption. So we're not developing technology. We are not selling digital identity solution. We're there to support the industry in ensuring that our digital identity solution work across different industry, across different use cases.
Great. Now, I know we're going to chat about security, digital identity, and compliance, and there's a particular report and review data. Could you maybe explain to us what that report is all about?
Absolutely. So there is a number of public sector and a private sector organization in Canada that are looking at large-scale deployment of digital identity going into production. And as part of that, their due diligence to go into production, they wanted to ensure that there was a security code review and a cryptographic review of the URSA library. URSA is an open source project that ensured that we have, it's a shared library for security. It's made in the open, it's open source, but there has never been an arm's length independent review of the library. So in a mindset of trust but verify, we perform the security code review with partners and give the thumbs up to the sponsor organization to say that the URSA library was well implemented, best practices in place, and ready to go. And
so maybe just share with us why that review is important. What came about that required that review to happen?
Right. So digital identity in any country, there's a heavy emphasis on security. There's a strong recognition also that the need for privacy enhancing security as part of digital identity. So you can imagine that tier one brand or jurisdiction that want to launch digital ID need to make sure that they cross all the T's, dot all the I's before they go in production. And so it's part of a necessary step of that cybersecurity hygiene of before we go in production, we want to do a risk mitigation. We want to ensure that we can minimize fraud, losses, or disruption of the service. So instead of doing this at the 11th hour, we do this ahead of time, and so it's part of that preparation and best practices to roll out production service.
So maybe just share with us, how did the review work? Who was involved? What was the timescale? What were the parameters of it?
Okay, so it was a 4-month project. It was a team of independent cryptographers that were put in place. We work with the community. Again, I had mentioned that the spirit under which the work was done was trust but verify. So we had a team of independent cryptographers. We identified the scope of the review. We identified the code base of the review because code evolve over time. And so there was a number of findings that were identified. We worked with the community to confirm the finding, to scale the finding, put remediation plan in place, and then there was a report. And yesterday we're really proud to share that report because for the sponsor, adopting using Hyperledger technology, using open source is part of this mentality of working in the open. Nothing to hide, working in the open. If you are a curious citizen, a curious organization, you want to see how it works, it's available. And so this report is public good and to the benefit of the community. And we've presented the finding. We made some blog and we made the report publicly available before. And yesterday we had a presentation.
Amazing. Where can people find out more about the project and the review?
So the report is available on the website of the Digital Identity Lab, which is idlab.org. It's also available on the academia portion of the Hyperledger website. I'm pretty sure it's Hyperledger, not Linux Foundation. The Hyperledger Academia component, they can find the report and they can find blogs and video of presentation that were made on the topic.
Amazing. I've got 2 final questions.
Okay.
Penultimate question. If there's one thing looking back on the review of the project that you want to share with us as a recipe for success, what would it be?
Recipe for success. Do your homework. I mean, getting ready, it will be extremely difficult to have a second shot at digital identity. The digital identity is about, we're the trust of our citizen, the trust of our organization, and I think that if it's not done well the first time, it's going to be very difficult to unwind and have a second shot at that. And so that's one aspect. The second aspect is we're all connected, and so the success of one, the success of one will impact the success of others. And so in this situation, we had different jurisdiction. They don't compete with each other, but they're all independent. We have a private sector organization, and it's in the common interest of all that we had a strong, secure implementation of that library, because it has that connecting, they're connected one to the other in one way, shape, or form.
Brilliant. So here we are in Dublin, the Hyperledger Global Forum. I'm asking my guests to share kind of with their own experience of the value that the Hyperledger community brings. So I would love to get your closing thoughts on that.
Very good. There will not be a single implementation. Digital identity touched so many use cases, so many geographies, so many places of use. And I think that working in this community, working with the Hyperledger community, provide those touch points, provide those, bring those different organizations, those different people with expertise, use case, and need together to ensure that it all comes together. We cannot, the average Canadian has over 100 username and password. Yeah. We don't want 100 different type of digital identity wallet and 100 different type of digital ID credential. They need to be some a common thread, and I think that this community is working together to get there.
Pierre, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, and well done on the project. Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your trip.
Thank you very much.